I've been summoned to help with a child who's been found unresponsive. I remember before I do anything else to think about danger. Danger to myself, so you'll see I'm putting my gloves on that I perhaps had in a pouch around my waist, but also as I approach the child, danger in the room. Is there anything around the child, anything above, anything I could slip on? No, it's safe to approach my casualty. So I want to see if I can get any response out of my casualty. Danny, Danny, can you hear me? If you can hear me, open your eyes. So you'll notice I shouted in both ears in case Danny is deaf or perhaps has an ear infection. You will notice that as well as seeing if Danny responded to my voice, I did gentle pain, shake the shoulders, perhaps clap in the face of a child to try and get a response. I also gave a command so that if Danny is feeling too poorly to speak, he could respond to that. So just to recap, Danny, Danny, can you hear me? Come on, if you can hear me, open your eyes. No meaningful response, so I'm going to summon more help. Help! Can somebody come and help me, please? Thank you. Then my next job is to check whether Danny is breathing. So to do that, I'm going to take my right hand and put it on his forehead, and I'm going to tilt that head right back. And to support me in this, I'm going to do a chin lift. So I'm going to use my thumb and my 2 fingers to pick that chin up, tip that forehead. Can you see I've tipped it right back? And look down Danny's body. I'm looking to see if there's breath. I'm listening to see if I can hear anything. And I'm close because I'm feeling. Can I perhaps, especially outside, just feel some breath on my cheek? 10 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you'll notice the whole 10 seconds I maintain the head tilt chin lift, because of course an unconscious child will just go back if I do that. So I'm trying to really open up that airway to give every possibility of breathing. So D, danger. R, response. A, airway. B, breathing. So now it's decision time. If Danny's not breathing, we're instantly going to start CPR. And that's something that we are looking at in a future clip. But for now, Danny is breathing. So the next thing that could kill Danny is a life-threatening bleed. Now, usually, if that's the case, we'll see it, won't we? You all know what blood's like, it goes everywhere. But let's just double check. What if he banged his head and there was a lot of blood behind his neck? Let's just check. No, that looks okay. Check underneath his body. No, nothing there. Underneath his knees, nothing there. Child with wellies on, I might want to check there. As I'm doing that, I'm going to remember that the last sense to be lost is hearing. So I'm not going to be saying to Danny, oh, I don't know what's happened, I think you're bleeding to death. I'm going to be saying something like, okay Danny, I'm Jill, the first aid. You can just feel my hands touching your body. I'm just trying to work out what might be wrong with you. And of course that safeguards myself from any allegations of inappropriate touch. So we've established that Danny is unresponsive but is breathing. If nobody's come, I'm going to have to go for help and leave him. And even if I've got assistance, the safest place for an unconscious casualty to be is on their side. We'll have talked in the lesson, if you've done the lesson preceding this, about why that's the case. But common sense dictates if I leave Danny on his back, he's very likely to choke. So I'm going to check, I'm going to roll Danny towards me, so I'm going to check. Nothing here that he might hurt himself on as I roll him. I'm going to check he hasn't got a school tie on or a belt or glasses, anything that will constrict him as I roll him. I'm also going to look when I'm just quickly checking to see if I see a Medi alert. It may be that Danny's got a bracelet on him which tells me he's diabetic. Aha, a clue. So I've checked out that it's safe to roll Danny, and I'm now going to roll Danny into the safe airway position. You may have heard this as the recovery position. The main thing we want is the casualty on their side, breathing as well as they can in the circumstances. So I'm going to move the arm which is nearest to me out of the way. I'm then going to take my arm which is nearest to Danny's head, so my arm which is nearest to his head, over his body, and pick the other hand up. You can see there that I've hooked the finger. Imagine a butterfly. My wiggling fingers are one part of the butterfly, Danny's hand's the other. I'm then going to put the back of Danny's hand onto his cheek, because that's going to mean that I can hold carefully and help to get his head round safely. I'm going to keep hold of that now because, of course, Danny's unconscious, so if I let go, that will happen. So I'm going to take that, very flexible Danny, isn't he? And then I'm going to bend the knee furthest from me, because that's going to help me to make a pivot, so that as I roll Danny over, if Danny's quite large particularly, that leg will help with his body weight. And I'm going to bring that leg out to stabilise him, and then I'm going to try and get his head in the best possible position that I can. And I'm going to ask my cameraman to come around and have a look so I can demonstrate this. The head wants to be tilted downwards, so that if Danny was to gain consciousness, he'd be looking at the floor at about 45 degrees. And something I've shown you during the lesson, those of you that have been on the course, will be some photos of that done correctly and incorrectly. So Danny is now in the safe airway position and can be left while I go to get help. Thank you.